Hello and welcome to the Long Island Weather Update. It's 10 o'clock on June the 18th, 2024. And again, waiting the worst of the heat here on Long Island. Just humid and warm, but there was a nice breeze if you were on the South Shore. It was pretty nice, actually, especially in the evening. But you can see a lot of haze in the air, pretty bad air quality out there. You're not going to get those nice blue skies, that's for sure. You can also see thunderstorm activity popping up inland. I guess there's like an inland heat trough or whatever that's developed. You can see, look at those thunderstorms popping up. Those actually look severe, especially those two over West Virginia there. You can see them there on the corner. But, yeah, let's look at the radar. I guess we'll start with that first because you can see that there are, well, this is the older radar now. But you can see there are some storms here in western New York that have popped up as well. But for us, we're going to stay dry for the most part. Our temperatures right now, we are dealing with temperatures that are in the low 70s across the area, so not terrible. Low 70s, pretty much across Long Island. Of course, in the alley, it's more like 75. So again, we're same exact temperature as LaGuardia, but we got low 70s across Long Island. If you're on the East End, you have upper 60s, and if you're in Jersey, looks like it's cooled off into the low 70s as well there too, after being quite hot there today. And you can see all the orange that is around us. That is all the heat advisories. We got looks like we've got heat warnings now in effect for these areas here. Excessive heat warnings for, look at this, going well up into Maine. I mean, look at how warm it is. 80s still. It's hotter there than it is here. I mean, it's nuts how hot it is. Even Mount Washington, it's up to 59. And look at that, it hit 66 at Mount Washington. That's very warm for Mount Washington. So, yeah, it just shows you how warm this air mass is that is over us. You can see there are a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings upstate, it looks like. Air quality alerts. We got all this stuff pretty much going on. Excessive heat warnings in effect here. That is an excessive heat warning as well for in Ohio. You can see it stretches all throughout the whole Northeast. And looking at the rest of the country, you can see that we have tropical storm. Not a tropical storm warning. It is for the Texas Gulf Coast, TD1. We'll talk about that. We got wildfires burning in New Mexico. Looks like we've got a wind. Is that a high wind warning? Yeah, high wind watch. This is not a good situation. There's a big wildfire burning southeast of Albuquerque, and you can see here in Arizona we've got excessive heat watches. So yeah, there's a lot of heat around, and then the severe weather is in Kansas. We've got a big severe thunderstorm watch here going from Kansas into Iowa. And let's get back to our area now. We'll look at the highs that we had today in our area. So highs on Long Island. See, we lucked out. We were only dealing with low to mid 80s. Low 80s across much of Long Island. Further on the South Shore, upper 70s out east. For my area, of course, a little bit warmer. We had mid 80s. Probably in my area and the city. LaGuardia and Central Park both got up to 86. You contrast that with Islip, which only got up to 81. And then we go into the broiling state of New Jersey, where we have low 90s for highs in a lot of areas. And we're going to go south here, and you'll see here quite a few 90s here. I know this shading is so you can't even see. Let me just take that up a little bit. So you hit 91 at Miller Air Park, 88 in Toms River, downtown Toms River. If you're right on the barrier islands, it was only in the upper 70s, but you have to be right at the beach. The sea breeze doesn't make it inland very far. So, yeah, Jersey was definitely roasting today. And again, when we look at the highs, we're going to go upstate, and you'll see even upstate, we had pretty hot highs. Boston got up to 92. Of course, the Cape, definitely cooler on the Cape. But look at this, northern Massachusetts, 95. Up near, what is that, Leominster there. And look at this, we are in New Hampshire. Look at this, 95 in Concord. So this goes all the way up into Maine, folks. 90s all the way up. This is pretty incredible heat to make it this far north. Look at this. Even up in, where is this 96 high? This is well up in northern Maine. We've got 90s into Maine. That is insane right there. That's some insane heat, making it that far north. That is a really strong ridge. That makes it into Canada too, by the way. Ottawa up into the low 90s as well. So the heat goes. Look at this. Look at how far it's going up. That is crazy. Look at this. Monusi off Hudson Bay, 90 degrees. I mean, this is insane kind of heat. This just goes to show you how strong this ridge is. Just really, really strong, very powerful ridge that we've got over us. And Albany got up to 94 as well. We got 90s in Rochester and Buffalo, where they had a power outage in the suburban Buffalo area. Let's go and look at the lows today. And lows were, not very low, obviously. Just upper 60s to around 70, obviously, with the humidity that we have around. And you'll see dew points generally. Islip's dew point is 64. Actually, that's a little bit lower than what we've been seeing. Farmingdale's dew point is 63. Did the dew points come down or something? Because it seemed like it is a bit less humid tonight than it was earlier. Yeah, earlier we had dew points up in the upper 60s. And then for some reason, the humidity dropped. And I can't even explain that. I'm guessing maybe outflow from those thunderstorms, maybe, that brought the humidity down. Let's see if New Jersey benefited from this at all. Probably not. Nope, they did too. The dew point's down to 63 at Miller Air Park. So, yeah, the humidity came down slightly. So that's some good news right there. At least we have that. Let's go to our statistics for the day. And we'll go to our highs and our statistics. So, high of 80 degrees at Islip, so it's saying 80 degrees at Islip for a high, a low of 69. 5 degrees above normal for the day, mainly due to that low of 69. Central Park, 86 degrees for a high, a low of 71, 6 degrees above normal there. And Newark, of course, 91 in Newark for a high and a low of 72, at 8 degrees above normal. Obviously, Jersey roasting, and it will continue to roast in New Jersey. And it's definitely not the place you want to be. So let's look at the Hurricane Center for a moment. You can see here is potential tropical cyclone 1. All right. And this is the latest statement on it. And you can still see they have it making a landfall into Mexico. But for whatever reason, they still have the tropical. It's going to be a very disjointed type of storm here. This will probably become Tropical Storm Alberto, the first tropical storm of the season in the Atlantic, the Gulf, but east generally. This is it will be Alberto. Looking at our map here, you can see high pressure, that ridge firmly in control. Storm Prediction Center, you see the severe weather mainly in the Midwest, slight risk there. 3 tornadoes reported today, 66 reports of wind, and 28 reports of hail. So we're not seeing the kind of same severe weather that we were a week or two ago. Luckily, that has calmed down. And tomorrow looks to be even quieter on the severe weather front. So that's some good news at least. So let's go to the models and talk about this. Well, before I do that, let's just look at the CONUS view. The CONUS satellite here. And let's just make this a little bit longer here. Yeah, here we go. Can kind of show you what's going on in New Mexico. That is a huge wildfire right there that they've got going on in New Mexico. That is not a good situation at all. Let's go to the southwest. Southwest here. We'll look at this here. Actually, that's Pacific Southwest. We got to do Southern Rockies. I think that's the one that we got to use. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke over here. So a lot of smoke in the southwest. You see that? That is a huge wildfire there burning south of Albuquerque. Look at that. And that is in the town of, I'm trying to think of the name. You can see there's another wildfire over here that's burning in eastern Arizona. But very dry, very windy conditions are going to persist in this area. And really, that's one hell of a wildfire right there. I got to say, that is one hell of a wildfire. The town is in New Mexico. So if we go to New Mexico here, Mexico, in fact, let's see if we can just go to New Mexico here. This is the fire, right? South Fork Fire is ongoing right now. It's Ruidoso. Unfortunately, looks like there has been deaths and properties destroyed as well. Yeah, this is really sad. In Ruidoso. Uh, and this is really bad. And there's also power outages. They've shut the power off because of these fires here. This is a really intense wildfire that's going on right now in the town of Ruidoso. Ruidoso. NM. This is where it's going on right now. So Ruidoso, really, really bad situation here. And they're just running fast-moving fires, threatening Ruidoso right now. And it actually is a very beautiful city. If you go to the map here, you'll see the fire on the map. They should have it on the map. And for some reason it's not showing, but this is the city right here. It actually is a very piney area, too. It's in the pines. There are a lot of pines over here. It looks like ponderosa pines. Obviously, pines, when you have a lot of pines, that helps fuel the fire. And ponderosa pines are somewhat fire adapted like pitch pines. Maybe not to the same extent, but this is the town right here, Ruidoso. And if we actually, there is a live camera. I just want to show you this for a moment here. It's down, but it will show you Earth Cam here. So if we go to Earth Cam, we can go over here and look at
the Taco Bell Cravings Value Menu. 10 choices, each just $3 or less.
All right. This is the last image it took. So you can see, this is, I just want to show you what it was like. These were the last, this was yesterday in Ruidoso. Look at that huge fire. I'm going to give you a link to this. I believe I shared it. You can see the fire is just looming larger and larger. This was yesterday. So you can see it looks fairly normal, but then all of a sudden, you see there's a big traffic jam as they evacuate the town. Again, this was from yesterday. You can see the sun going down, setting behind the fire. And then you can see as we get toward the end of the video, you're going to start seeing the town being evacuated here. And then there's just this huge traffic jam. See people starting to flee here. Again, this was last evening in Ruidoso before the camera went down because the power went out. But you start seeing the traffic here. It's starting to build here. And then look at that. It's a standstill now. We could speed it up. And you can see it's barely moving. We'll show you what was going on there. We'll speed it up to 2 times. You can see it's barely moving. Yeah, that's it's not even moving at all. Barely moving at all. So this is what's going on. People really running for their lives, and yet we're seeing another disaster because of climate change. Very, very windy, unusually windy and unusually dry conditions in these areas that are being affected right now. So very, very, very concerning indeed. And you might actually be able to see the fire on the radar. We're going to go back to this, and actually, we're going to do this GLM flash intensity because sometimes the fires are so intense they create their own thunderstorms. And you can see that there was some thunderstorms over there. It's the last thing we need is a dry thunderstorm because that could start more fires. And Flagstaff also in the same boat as well with this. A really, really bad situation. Very, very bad indeed for this area. And you can see again what they're going through. It's just really, really, really bad situation with these fires here in New Mexico here. That's a lot of smoke right there. So yeah, we're gonna have to worry about this for quite some time here and there. Again, these fires here are pretty bad. So actually, we're going to go and look at, normally I don't do this, but because we are experiencing a major disaster in yet another part of the country, we are going to talk about it. Ruidoso is southeast. I believe it's southeast of Albuquerque. Right, that's Roswell, but Ruidoso, it's in the woods somewhere over here. So that's trying to find it on the map here. But, we could just look at Albuquerque because the conditions are, well, I wanted to look at Ruidoso. I don't know if they have an observation in that spot, if they do. But you can see we've got this wind watching effect, which means things are going to get even worse. Trying to find Ruidoso here if I can. And, I don't know New Mexico that well, so... but you can see these observations. You see, look at these winds that they're going through. I think it's in this area right here. I know it's southeast of, it's Lincoln County. I know that. So it may not show Ruidoso. There may not be an airport there, but we can use this observation here from this airport. So the dew point's 20. The humidity is only 11%. Southwest wind at 16, gusting to 24. And they've had some pretty windy conditions in some of these areas. So that's going to really help cause the fire to be out of control quite easily. And as I look at this site here, 36-mile-an-hour wind gust. So these are the kind of wind gusts you have, just dry, dry weather. And this is all because when we go back to the weather map, you'll see that we have these lows and a pressure gradient, and you have the cool air that's coming in on the trough, and it's going over the mountains. It's very dry, and it's just drying out even further. And that's your tropical system right there. However, the tropical system may actually help us in New Mexico. So let's go to the models now and talk about what we have coming. We're looking at the GFS here, the 18Z run of it. Obviously, we're in the ridge. Here's the tropical system, all right? So here it is. Probably not a whole lot of wind with it. It's mainly going to be a rainmaker, but we want this to push west into New Mexico, and it looks like some of the moisture is going to make it into New Mexico as well as Arizona. And this could help control those fires, though it may not wind up being all that much rain out of it. Let's see total accumulated precip. Yeah, it's not where there could be, again, where these tropical storms hit. It looks like it would be going right over the Ruidoso River, perhaps 1 to 2 inches in that area. And when we look at Texas, you'll see, again, southern parts of the Texas coast could see a lot of rain, 5-6 inches, and then even more along the eastern Mexico coast, perhaps even up as much as a foot of rain for that area. So hopefully these rains can make it into New Mexico and get those fires under control. But one thing that is a certainty is the heat that we are going to be dealing with this week. You can see the heat and the humidity here sticking with us. You can see it's going way up into Canada here. This is the dew points. Again, you see the dry air out west, and that ridge is going to stay in place right through the end of this week, and into the weekend too, unfortunately. Not showing much relief. In fact, even when we get in next week, we try to get a little relief like I showed you before, but and then we see it come right back at us. And maybe we'll have a stronger push of cool air. But you can see, generally speaking, we have that ridge pattern. All you got to do is look at the dew points, and that kind of says all you need to see as far as the temperatures go, and things will be above normal temperature-wise. You can see much below normal in the upper Rockies there, and temperatures even below normal in Arizona. It's not like it's that hot. It's just dry in the Southwest. But you can see those big temperature anomalies. Southeast Canada, Northeast, really big temperature anomalies. And I'm wondering if this is going to help dry things out, perhaps, and we could see some wildfires in eastern Canada, perhaps, eventually as a result of this, because it will certainly dry things out. Anyway, so we have the ridge that's in place. Obviously, it will be staying fairly dry. Obviously, there's the tropical system coming into that's going to bring in some rain. It hasn't formed. They haven't given it a name yet. But as you see, as we get to it Friday in the weekend, we will also have some chances for some showers and thunderstorms, perhaps. And maybe even into Monday, we'll see some of that as well. So let's go and take a closer look at our area and look at the HRRR. And you see, we'll be staying dry again, maybe scattered shower and thunderstorm activity inland, perhaps. But for us, it's staying dry. No precipitation, but humidity won't be that dry. That's for sure. It's going to be. We got the southwest winds tomorrow. Again, notice it starts off more of a southwesterly flow tomorrow, perhaps. So tomorrow, I think it's going to be a bit warmer than today. Notice that there is some drier air here that's just, for whatever reason, popping up in this area over here. So maybe the dew points won't be as high, but it's going to probably be hotter tomorrow. And then you see we sticking with that southwest flow, and here we are on Thursday with a little more of a southwesterly flow versus a south-southwesterly flow, which means hotter temperatures, especially if you're not on the South Shore. So let's look at our temperatures here. And going into tomorrow, you'll see the 90s pretty much through most of New Jersey. Again, it's not really painting 90s over Long Island. So, again, we may avoid the 90s. I think we'll get a little further into the 80s tomorrow, perhaps upper 80s if you're in central Nassau County, mid-80s in Suffolk. And then won't drop off much at night, obviously. It's showing temperatures, actually, it is showing temperatures dropping into the 60s a little more, interestingly, tomorrow night. And then for Thursday, again, Jersey is going to roast well into the mid-90s. Similar deal, though. Long Island, again, avoids, maybe we'll get close to the 90-degree mark especially North Shore and Central Nassau County. But then it drops again in the afternoon with the sea breeze. Let's look at the GFS now. See if the GFS has any different ideas here. Pretty similar. What about Friday? All right, Friday looks a little different. You can see the heat is over New Jersey, but it also expands a little more into Long Island, and that is probably driven by a little more of a westerly wind. And sure enough, it is. You can see a backdoor front tries to make it through. This is the weekend, but it kind of gets. It never really makes it. It does give northern New England relief, maybe Boston, but we don't. What we do see on Saturday is more of a southerly flow, and then a Sunday more of a southwesterly flow. So, fortunately, it does not look like we'll see any really crazy heat as long as we. Friday may be the hottest day, I think, and then the weekend you could see the heat's confined back to New Jersey again. You see that right there. The heat is confined more to New Jersey, and we're not as hot. So that will be a plus at least. Now, precipitation. You can look a little bit at the precipitation chances, and you'll see, again, there are some chances of showers. Slight chance on Friday. Better chance possibly Saturday night, maybe. And maybe I think Sunday night and Monday with this front. And to Monday, that could actually bring us some rain. So if we look at the total accumulated precip from that, we could see perhaps 1 to 2 inches between those two storms there, especially if a low does develop along the front and enhance the rainfall. So we could see, again, after a relatively dry period, we could see, again, Friday and the weekend. That's where we're going to start seeing some shower chances in the forecast, shower and thunderstorm activity. Maybe a chance for severe weather. Well, that's just too far in advance for us to tell right now. Clouds, obviously, the skies aren't going to look good. Plenty of high clouds, jet junk, haze. Same thing Thursday. I mean, you'll have the sun, but it's going to be a milky, crappy-looking sky. And then more clouds probably on the weekend. And then hopefully we can get rid of the clouds maybe by Tuesday or Wednesday. We can get rid of these clouds perhaps and have some decent weather next week. But, again, that's long range, and I don't really want to talk too much about that. Let's go to the RGEM, just get a clearer view of things here. And, again, you'll see, again, that haze, that jet junk, cirrus, you'll have that around. Maybe times there'll be a little less of it, but I doubt it. You'll have a blue sky, that's for sure. Not with this. Looks like we're missing some data on the runs, but, you know, pretty much that's what we're going to be dealing with. Yeah, 18Z run is missing some frames, so I'll have to go to the 12Z on the RGEM. But you see the deal. There will be sunshine, but it will be a hazy sunshine. I doubt we'll have any really nice blue skies. Or certainly you see all the haze that we're seeing. If we go to the MODIS satellite, you'll see, again, plenty of haze here. We'll go to this. And here's our tropical system, by the way. All right. But you can see plenty of haze, especially over the northeast. You can clearly see it. That's all wildfire smoke, not from New Mexico, but from Central America. And it looks like finally the wildfires are out over there. Seems to have quieted down. And maybe we can get rid of some of this smoke a little later on, have a little less haze. But yeah, the sky was really disgusting looking today. If you go further south in the Carolinas, Florida, it looks like you have a little less of it over there. And then we can go ahead and look at New Mexico on here. And I can clearly see there's that fire right there. There's that fire in New Mexico. It's a very big wildfire there that's burning right there. So let's go and look at one more thing here. Back to tropical tidbits again, and we're going to just go over the current storms that we have right now. It's potential Cyclone 1. All right, so this is the infrared satellite loop right now. Not looking terribly impressive, pretty disorganized. It's going to mainly be a rainmaker more than the wind. Looking at the spaghetti models, you can see it tracks. The center will track over Mexico, but the moisture will get into Texas. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully some of that moisture will get pulled up into New Mexico. I can see the intensity is not going to be very strong. But I'm really hoping some of that moisture does wind up getting pulled up into New Mexico and helping the situation there. So anyway, that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather update. Have a good night.